My girlfriend told me that our bed life is not good as an excuse of her cheating on the wedding. Well, she could have told me this beforehand, rather than calling me a Ckold. So, my girlfriend Francesca, 33F, and I, 34M, we've been together for a couple of years now. We both smoke cannabis, though I limit myself to fortnightly sessions due to tolerance build-up from my teenage years. Francesca, on the other hand, has a penchant for drinking, which she does every weekend. We attended my cousin's wedding not too long ago. Now, I'm not much of a drinker, but Francesca convinced me to swap my usual joint for a few rounds of drinks at the reception that I got more drunk than I've ever been, and I stumbled upon Francesca doing cocaine with Sean, 31M, my other cousin. Sean and I aren't close. He sees me as a weirdo who gets high all the time, while I see him as an arrogant, spoiled bully. It felt like a slap in the face to find them together like that, even more so when Francesca brushed it off as her just having a good time. Despite our argument, we ended up in bed together. The next morning, I woke up to find her gone. My heart sank, but I tried not to jump to conclusions. Down at the reception, I overheard some of Sean's friends joking about how Sean was shagging his cousin's girlfriend. I confronted them, demanded to know which room they were in, and insisted one of them come with me. The sound of sex was audible before we even reached the room. I told Sean's friend to knock and get Sean out without telling him why. After repeated shouting and knocking, Sean opened the door to see me. He backed away. I followed him into the room. Francesca, my Francesca, was in bed, looking shocked and asking, "What is it?" Sean stayed silent. I could only stand there as she became hysterical, claiming, "It's not what it looks like." But it was exactly what it looked like. I left without saying a word. So that's my story, Reddit. I'm feeling a mix of betrayal, anger, and confusion right now. I'm open to any advice, any words of wisdom, as I navigate through this. Thanks for reading. Update. Hey again, Reddit. I'm still trying to come to terms with everything that's happened since that night at the wedding. I've read every single one of your comments on my previous post, and I can't begin to express how much your words of support have meant to me. Francesca has been incessantly trying to reach me. Calls, texts, even showing up at my apartment, you name it. She's desperate to explain, to justify what happened. But honestly, I've been too numb and too hurt to listen. Sean? Well, he's been disturbingly silent towards me. However, he's been more than vocal about the situation with the rest of our cousins. I found out he's been boasting about what happened that night. I only got wind of this when an uncle reprimanded him for his behavior. To say I'm disgusted would be an understatement. And the reaction from my other cousins? Well, it's been far from supportive. Many are content to laugh at my expense, and it feels like an additional betrayal. They've started referring to me as cuck, which is not only immature but also incredibly hurtful. I've decided I don't need that kind of negativity in my life right now. As for Francesca, we still haven't spoken. I'm not sure I'm ready to hear her side of things yet, but I know I will need to at some point. I need that closure to move forward. Right now, my focus is on myself. I'm trying to regain a sense of normalcy, taking one day at a time. I'm reconnecting with old hobbies, trying to find joy in the little things again. I know there's a long road ahead. Healing isn't linear, and I expect there will be good days and bad days. But I'm taking the first steps, and that's what matters. I'll update again when there's more to share. Until then, thank you for your continued support. It means more than words can express. Mini update. My cousin Lucille called me today to apologize. She seemed genuinely remorseful, which was a change. She also informed me about a new lie Sean's been spreading, that Francesca and I had an open relationship and her sleeping with other men was part of our kink. According to him, I was just annoyed that he got involved. I can't say I'm surprised by Sean's behavior, but it's still disheartening. However, it's a clear reminder of why I've chosen to distance myself from that part of the family. Update 2. Since my last post, I've made arrangements to attend therapy regularly. It's a lifeline and should help me navigate this mess. I'm still not speaking with my other cousins. Their lack of empathy and respect has left a sour taste, and I'm not sure that will ever change. However, I did speak with Rona, Francesca's sister. She came over to pick up her stuff, and what she revealed shocked and disgusted me. Francesca has a history of infidelity, often with men who are drug dealers, to settle her debts. I was so sickened by this information that I physically threw up. Many of you were right, the cheating and the coke were not the first time this has happened. How the hell did I not notice any of the signs? I immediately called my doctor to get tested for STDs. These days waiting for the results are some of the most stressful I've experienced. To say I'm devastated would be an understatement. I'm back at square one, reeling from the hurt and the humiliation. But I'm going to continue with my therapy and try to learn from this painful experience. Thank you, Reddit, for being here. Your support means more than you know. I'll keep you updated on my progress. Hello again, Reddit, just a quick little update to say I got my results back from the STD test. I'm clean. I swear this is a massive weight lifted off my shoulders. Update 3. Hello again, Reddit. It's me. I wish I were back with better news, but sadly, that's not the case. Finally, I gathered the strength to speak to Francesca. I wanted to understand why she hadn't just told me about her cocaine use. I would have helped her, I would have gotten her off it and possibly into rehab, but her response was a punch to the gut. She admitted that she would have cheated regardless. She claimed our sex life was lacking, that it was far from exciting, barely even vanilla. She confessed that she'd been faking it the entire time to avoid hurting me. Now, she felt no need to hold back. Francesca even echoed my cousins, calling me a cuckold and cruelly predicting that my next girlfriend will cheat on me too. The truth bomb Francesca dropped on me left me in a pretty dark place. The only person I've had the energy to speak to in the last 2 days is my therapist, who has been a constant rock for me in this storm. In an attempt to make some positive changes, I've given up cannabis and started hitting the gym. It's been a good distraction, a way to vent my frustrations. I've yet to see some improvements physically, but that'll happen eventually over time. However, I have noticed women at the gym checking me out, which has been a small boost to my self-esteem. I also had an unexpected encounter with Max, the son of one of my older cousins. He shared that since the wedding, the kids in the family have been giving their parents hell, calling them out on their disgusting behavior. I guess all that free weed I used to share with them made an impression. It was a small consolation, but it gave me a moment of satisfaction. Despite all the challenges, I'm still standing. Reddit. I'm hurt, I'm healing, and I'm working on building a better version of myself. Thank you for being there during this tough journey. Your support truly means a lot. This will be my last update for a while. I'll update again when I'm in a better place. Update 4. Ran into Sean, things escalated. I bumped into Sean at our local store. Maybe it was all the pent-up anger or the last vestiges of my heartbreak, but seeing him there, so smug and unbothered, immediately set me off. And when he started taunting me, I just snapped. I did something I never thought I'd do. I attacked Sean. It was a flurry of punches, rage, and adrenaline. I broke his nose and knocked out one of his teeth. I've never been a violent person, but in that moment, it felt like every punch was for every lie, every betrayal, and every heartache. His friends were there too, but they didn't lift a finger to help him. Instead, they watched the entire incident unfold. And when it was over, instead of jumping to Sean's aid, they put up their hands and shook their heads as if to say, "We're not with him." I'm worried about potential legal repercussions. Aggravated assault and grievous bodily harm are serious charges. However, I haven't been arrested, and the police haven't been in contact. In fact, no one's reached out to me about it. Still, I'm keeping a low profile. Trying to process what happened and how I could lose control like that. I'm continuing my therapy and my workouts, trying to channel my anger and hurt in more productive ways. I'm not proud of what I did to Sean, but I can't change what happened. I can only work on myself to ensure it doesn't happen again. Update 5. Hey, Reddit. It's been a while since my last update, and I'm excited to share some positive news. Life has taken an unexpected turn, and I've found a new girlfriend who has brought light back into my world. After the chaos with Francesca and Sean, I decided to focus on myself. I threw myself into therapy, hit the gym hard, and started rebuilding my life. It was during one of my workouts that I met her, Emily. We struck up a conversation, and it quickly became clear that we had a lot in common. We started going on dates, and each one felt better than the last. Emily is caring, understanding, and genuinely interested in me. We've shared our stories of heartbreak and healing, and it's brought us closer together. I can feel the trust building, and it's a refreshing change. In fact, things have been going so well that Emily recently asked me if I want to move in with her. It's a big step, but it feels right. We've spent enough time together to know that we enjoy each other's company and are compatible in many ways. Living together would allow us to deepen our connection and build a life together. Of course, I took some time to think it through. Moving in together is a significant commitment, and I wanted to ensure it was the right decision for both of us. After careful consideration, I decided to take the leap of faith and said yes to Emily's offer. I'm excited about this new chapter in my life and the possibility of creating a loving and supportive home with her. It's a stark contrast to the tumultuous and painful experiences I had with Francesca and Sean. I've come a long way since then, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to start anew with someone who truly values and appreciates me. Now it's time for the next story. Story 2. I've been cheated by all my last girlfriends. Is it something wrong with me? Should I start worrying for the guys they, in my case, tells not to worry about? I, 32, abandoned my girlfriend, 27, in the city after she repeatedly broke my trust. Counting this relationship, my last 3 relationships have ended in me being cheated on. We had been together 8 months, and had been planning a trip to a convention together. Shortly before the trip, she excitedly told me that she made a new friend who was giving us free tickets to the convention. Then things kept snowballing from there. She admitted having flirted with this guy by accident and asked me if she should feel bad. I asked her if he knew she had a boyfriend and her response was, no. It felt weird to bring up. And I've learned people are less likely to give you free stuff if you tell them you're in a relationship already. I told her this made me feel uncomfortable and I didn't think it was outrageous of me to ask her to be careful with her actions and words around this guy. She knew I had been cheated on previously and it had destroyed my mental health. She had told me that she had cheated in a previous relationship when she was young and in a bad place, but that she wasn't like that anymore. She seemed to understand my reservations about this guy that she couldn't help laying out in front of me. At the time I hoped it was just her being transparent. So we finally get to the day of the convention, and she makes a beeline to her new friend and spends 90% of her time by his side. I see whispering together and shoulder rubs and giggling and all kinds of things that make me uncomfortable, but I keep it to myself until we're alone. At one point I tried to go hold her hand, something we like to do often, and she pushed it away and said, "Not right now, I'm stressed," while going on to continue laughing in conversation with this other guy. At the end of the day we're alone and I say, "Look, I really don't like how I'm being ignored for this guy you just met. I feel like you're crossing boundaries here that hurt me a lot, and I just want to reassert that this hurts me and give you a chance to stop. I don't like this guy, and I don't like the extra attention you're giving him." Her responses were, "I'm not cheating on you, you can be his friend too. Just try to talk more to him. And I feel like you're targeting how I'm treating a friend because you've been cheated on before." I held firm. "I don't like it, and I hope you take my feelings here seriously." Early next morning she picked up her phone and was typing away. I pretending to keep my eyes closed and sleep, but I could see she was texting this guy. Saying how we had a fight, she felt stressed, worthless, scared. Meanwhile the guy fed her positive affirmations about how special she was and how he liked her. My stomach kept sinking the more I caught out of the corner of my half-closed eyes until I had enough. I said good morning and she rolled over on her side to face the phone away and started talking about how she was texting her coworkers. I gave her a weird look and she said, "My back hurts. You think I'm trying to hide something because I wanted to roll over to where my back was comfortable? You were texting his name." "No, I wasn't. I just told you who I was texting. You're targeting me again." My eyes widened. I sat up and cast a 1,000-mile stare through the wall ahead of me. "Why would you lie about that? I was watching you texting him." She had a small mental breakdown and began begging with me, "I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. I felt like you were targeting me with him. He's just a friend and I don't want you to think anything else." Still, we made up and went back to the convention where she again made a beeline for this guy and wandered around buying him things. At the end of the day I told her I was going back to the hotel room and she said she was going to go out with the guy for drinks and I was welcome to come along, and that she might stay at his hotel room. I said, "Nah, I'm good, goodbye." That goodbye was the last time I saw her. I went and packed my stuff and drove back home several hours away. At 5 a.m. in the morning she realized I had left and called me freaking out that I abandoned her. I told her to enjoy the rest of her trip, but there was nothing else in it for me, and that all her stuff was still in the room her ex-boyfriend, me, had paid for. I also told her if she critically needed a ride home I'd pick her up, not as her boyfriend but only out of necessity. Her new friend would likely be able to drive her anyway. Here she bashed me for abandoning my girlfriend with no place to go. I listened to a lot of crying and begging but held firm. I've seen this story play out several times before. I no longer cared. It's hard to describe how I feel now. It's very hard to trust people without expecting hidden motives or something beyond my vision happening that would hurt me. I feel like I was right in finally putting my foot down, and every close friend I talked to about this told me I did the right thing and shouldn't have put up with that activity. But still sometimes I have nagging questions about if I overreacted, or if I was too sensitive. Like, if there's some way I could have done better, if I was an idiot somehow, let me know, right? I like reading these stories because seeing what other people have gone through gives me clarity during the times I was recovering after being cheated on. Hopefully this story can do the same for someone. Let's listen to another story. Story 3. Destroyed crazy ex of my stepson's father. That's what she deserved. She will face the consequences of her actions for first time in her miserable life. I've, 50, got 2 stepsons, who I just call my sons as I've been in their life since they 8 and 10 and are now young men. My wife and I made it a point to have a great relationship with their dad, Jason, and made sure he had a chance to be around as much as possible, even staying at our place frequently to be around his boys as he lived over an hour away and couldn't afford to live closer. Jason had a crazy ex-GF who had tried to claim they were married, variously saying common law or that they were married in secret, or married on an Indian reservation, but he had a restraining order out against her because she was nuts and had tried various ways to screw up his life. The ex is a horrible person. She had been arrested several times for forgery and fraud. She and Jason had a fiery relationship, but he had it in his head that he should make it work as he did like her daughters and grandson. But the ex got him sent to prison for violating his probation when he left the county to go to his mom's funeral and hadn't filed an appropriate form. I'm a little unclear on this part, but she played a major role in it. After he got out several months later, she wanted him back and he wasn't having it. He made a clean break, moved to a new town, but she continued to harass him, thus leading to the restraining order. She would send texts to people pretending to be police investigating, saying he was drunk driving or taking drugs, or pretending to be friends/family to spread rumors and hurt him. She even sent texts to my kids from burner phones, pretending to be other family or friends, saying awful things about their dad. Jason died unexpectedly of a heart attack, and it was a shock to all of us. He was finally living in peace, had great relationships with friends and his sons, and was the happiest he had ever been. He didn't have much. He lived in a single wide trailer a friend had let him staying for free, some boxes of tools, old comics, video games, D&D books and modules, mementos from his times in the Marines, and an old, 2009, pickup, which, on several occasions, he had promised my oldest son, let's call him Paul. Jason didn't have a will, and my wife became the executor of the estate because at the time of death, both the sons were minors and sole heirs. We packed up the things out of Jason's trailer and took the truck, which had Jason's name on the title but had to wait for the death certificate to retitle it in Paul's name. But the ex called Jason's sister demanding the truck, saying it was hers and posting on FB she was reporting it as stolen, etc., which really pissed me off. After we got the death certificate, we went to the DMV and found out that she had stolen the title to the truck by forgery, saying she was the only heir, and we couldn't transfer the title. My son was driving around with a packet documenting everything in case he was pulled over for driving a stolen vehicle. We had to get a lawyer and start a special process that took several months before a director at the DMV fixed it and we were able to title the truck, with the ex continuing to threaten and cause problems and made everyone miserable and cost us several thousand in legal fees. Early last year, we got through probate court. The ex never showed up, in spite of saying that she was the wife and sole heir. The court declared the boys as the sole heirs and my wife as executor of the estate in their names. Instead of showing up, the ex sent an email to the court saying she couldn't make it because of work, she doesn't have a job, and that Jason was never around his kids. He didn't miss a single HS football game home or away and never missed a home track meet, and that they were just leeching off his SSI for the back child support. She went on with a bunch of other non-relevant shit just to trash my wife and sons, and pretty much said it didn't matter what the judge said, that she should get everything. During this time we found out that Jason's name was on the deed of the ex's house. In order to get a reduction in property taxes because of Jason's disabled veteran status, she had filed papers to put him on the deed, but not the mortgage. If she had just left my kids alone, we would have let it go, but she had pushed principal beyond the point of denial, so we filed suit for half the house. Property is worth about $380,000. We went to court-ordered mediation, and she rejected a mediated settlement of a fraction of the value, which we would have taken. In April, her lawyer dropped her, and so she got a continuance on the first hearing. She then claimed that she had found will from Jason designating her as sole heir, in addition to another signed paper that she found as a quitclaim deed from Jason for the house. I did wonder if it was this or her not paying him which caused him to drop her. She was going to go back to probate court to reopen, appeal, probate, and needed time for that, which the judge granted. On Tuesday, finally went to court on the deed to the house. She no-showed. The judge had inquiries to the probate court, and she never filed any papers. The trial lasted less than 10 minutes as the judge recorded the facts and awarded the estate half the property. They will impanel 3 lawyers to determine how the property will be sold, and she's going to lose her house and for the first time in her miserable life, face the consequences of her actions. FAFO